Hey y'all, this is Cody and you're watching Texas Patriot Off-Road and Outdoors. So we're going to be working on the TW200 this morning. So this bike's got about 1,400 miles and about 1 year of service. In that time frame, I've checked the chain multiple times for the slack and it's been decent. Well, after the last long ride, it looks like we're at that point for some chain adjustment time, if you will. So anyway, y'all stay tuned and we'll get started. All right, to check the slack, kind of go right in the center of the length of chain here. So you can see we're kind of right there by that guard. I'm gonna take the tape measure, run it on down here. Anyway, can you see that? I'm gonna pull down to where the tape measure, top of the chain is even with the bottom of the tape. And I'm gonna come up and push up. It's a little over 3 inch, so it is well past. It's getting loose there. But anyway, that's how you check it, and let's get it adjusted. Quick little overview of what we're gonna do. We gotta take the chain guard off. We got a couple 8mm bolts, it looks like, here and back there. You're gonna have your axle bolt. You got the head on this side and the nut on that side. The older models, I believe, had a castle nut with a cotter pin. And then these are your, I guess they call them their Snell adjusters. And once you loosen that, we're gonna apply pressure and turn clockwise to take some tension out of the chain. And you have to do them both even. You have this peg here. You need to make sure both sides are the same or your rear wheel alignment will be off. All right, before we get started, let's go over some of the tools for the job. So we've got a 1/2 inch 3/8 drive ratchet and extension. We've got a few sockets here. We have 8, 19, and 22mm. Of course, we're gonna use a torque wrench to get it all tightened back when we're done. A tape measure for checking the chain slack. And we got a mule near here, Thor's hammer. And of course, another mallet here. And then looking down here, let's see, there's that off the Kawasaki site, little screenshot. But the chain slack should be 1.38 to 2.36 inches. All right, to break this nut loose on the axle shaft, you need to hold the other side with your 22. All right, and just loosen it up to where you can freely pivot those Snell cams there. All right, we've got the axle nut loose, so now we're gonna try to adjust these cams. Try to do it by hand. If not, that's what we got the hammer for. One. We're gonna go the other side. We're gonna do it, and then we're gonna check the chain. Okay, I saw the chain move. So let's get a measurement on the chain tension now. All right, that went from right at 3 inches to about 2 1/4. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take it and move that Snell one more notch. So we're at bottom here. Yep, right at 2 1/4, which is about where it was stock if I remember. So we're gonna make one more adjustment on that thing. All right, let's see if we can get that sucker by hand again, maybe. All right, so we are right in the middle between a 3 and a 4. So we'll get that other side and then we'll get another chain measurement. All right, that moved it again. Let's get a measurement. Let's see what we're working with, y'all. Okay, pull it down. There we go. So again, 138 to 236 is the recommended range on your chain slack. So we're going right at 3/4. Excuse me. Yeah. Right at 1 3/4. So kind of almost in between. So I'm gonna leave it like that. We had to move the clamshell two notches. So we were at, I want to say the notch right before 3, and now we're in between the 3 and the 4, if y'all can see that. So we're gonna get the sucker torqued down and we'll do a little talking after. All right, now we're going to adjust that rear axle nut to 65 foot-pounds of torque. There it is. So we're going to do it one more check on the chain now that everything's tight. Make sure the chain's still in order, and we'll go through a couple other simple steps. Double check that the adjusters are in the right spot on both sides. 3.5 here as well, so let's check the chain. If everything's right after tightening, torquing everything down, we should still be right at 1 3/4 of an inch. So pull the chain down, lift up, down, just shy of 1 3/4. So now, one thing I mentioned earlier when I was showing you the tool set, I mentioned I needed the 8mm for taking off the chain guard. So when you're doing this, you need to do opposite of what I've done. I'm out of chain cleaner. So really you should clean your chain real thoroughly and lube it before adjusting is what I've been told. So I am gonna go ahead and go to the parts store in a minute, get some cleaner, take the chain guard off, clean it, and of course I'll check my chain tension after that. But those little tips. Another thing, if you have a hard time getting the snells adjusted properly, you might try lifting the bike up with a motorcycle stand or jack, and that might make it a little bit easier. All right, another little thing I forgot to mention earlier as part of those tips. Always, after you get done adjusting your chain, your wheel's either moving forward or backwards, which will affect your brake lever, rear brake lever. So you need to check your free play here. And of course, give your bike a test drive, make sure everything's working. So according to specs, that lever should be between 20 and 30mm, which translates, that's going to translate to roughly 3/4 to 1.25 inches. So start at the 1. Trying to hold it steady here, y'all. That's pretty close. That's looking like 1 1/4. So I might tighten it just a little bit. Line it up at the 1. It's right at about maybe a little over 1 inch. And that was about 5 revolutions on the wing nut there. 5 half revolutions, I guess you would say. Well, y'all, that's it. So as we talked about earlier, check your chain regular. Mine went from being within specs, and I felt like overnight, within a couple 100 miles, it jumped way the heck out. So you don't want to have your chain too loose and it fly off and get tangled up and you end up getting a wreck or binding up and tearing your motor up. And of course, if it's too tight, that's bad on your engine components. But anyway, as always, thanks for watching Texas Patriot Off-Road and Outdoors.